guys. Thanks for everybody for jumping on to this week's edition of the FFL Sky's the Point podcast. And I have a great honor of introducing to you guys Aaron Groves. He's local here in the office with me as well. I'm excited to share his story with everybody. We'll kind of go through his entire story. We'll wrap up with a little bit of Q&A, but thanks for jumping on, Ian.
Hey, man, I appreciate it.
So let's just get right into it. If for people that don't know who you are, can you kind of introduce yourself, kind of where you came from and how long you've been here with us at FFL?
Yeah, so my name's Ian Groves. I graduated, or didn't graduate, but I finished my last year of school in May. I started with FFL in February, part-time, and then I went full-time once I finished my semester in June. And I think I got in the office in September.
Got it.
That's kind of the little bit of background.
Got it. Cool. So so you started your business because you went to college down at Baylor, right?
Yeah, for the last year I did.
So were you kind of, when you were at school, were you kind of part-time there, or did you not really do that until after school ended for you?
No, so I was part-time during school and playing baseball. I was still working, kind of just as much as I could when I had some free time.
Got it. Okay. Then you moved up to obviously up to Kansas, and you were running here and there. So because like the big question is like, what you were out there helping around between 10 families a month until around September, is that right?
Yeah, just about.
Okay. So you're helping 10 families a month. The big question is like, because you went from helping 10 to 40, like what do you attribute that to? Did you just work more? Did you do certain things? Did you change stuff up with what leads you were running? What all changes did you make?
I think it was an accumulation of a lot of stuff. I think I kind of fell into the trap of thinking I was working. And I think that's what a lot of people go through. And I think everybody's been there. So it's kind of like working at home, thinking I was having a good dial day, making a call, stepping out, like doing stuff like that. So that was most of it, was really just the actual activity I was putting in throughout the day. And then the biggest part that like kind of changed a lot for me was just asking as many questions to people as I could. Like I went to the sales conference in Atlanta in August, asked as many Hall of Fame producers as I could questions. I called you when I first heard of you and just asked you as many questions as I could. You were helping me out a lot with stuff like that. And kind of the biggest part was just getting in the office and actually like getting a space that when I'm here, I'm working and I can, there's times I can ask questions and stuff, but while I'm here, I'm dialing, I'm doing stuff, I'm putting in the activity that actually produces and not just having a conversation and then going and watching TV for 5 minutes and then coming back.
Right. Now I think everybody has that. And that's why we bring agents in, it's always like focus on income producing activities. If it's not bringing you income, then that's something that you can do in your downtime. If you're waking up early before you're dialing, late at night, because a lot of people like calling carriers or mess around with carrier websites, or I mean, even watching a video. A lot of people think like I'm training, I'm working, which you do need to train. You need to watch videos. You need to improve. But I've always classified income producing activities. That's you're buying leads, you're calling leads, and you're running an appointment. Whether it's telesales or face-to-face, that's the only thing that's really going to bring you an income. And when you're bringing in income, that means you're helping families out there too. So obviously getting in an office, and that's what I did too, is like, I think after my first convention up in KC, first thing we did when we came back is looking for office space just for us personally. And because I remember you coming in, you came into like the dial room and you're like, I might get an office later, like a physical office for yourself. But then like after the first day, you're like, screw it, I need to do this. And
yeah, exactly.
Probably one of the best decisions you've made. Because it is, it's crazy hearing you dial. I mean, you get dial it up a lot quicker. Because when you're talking about activity, like break that down. Did you have a set schedule when you were only helping 10 versus do you have like a set weekly schedule you stick to no matter what?
When I was only doing like 10 families a month, I was like, I woke up at home at like 7:30, 7:45, dialing by 8. But I didn't stick to that time of dialing.
Mm-hmm.
Like I would like get one, set an appointment, and then go do something, and then come right back. Whether it was like 2, 3 minutes, but I was still wasn't putting
Mm-hmm.
in the actual time to do something. So when it came to the actual activity, once I got in the office, was like listening how you dial and you schedule your appointments, and then you're done because you've scheduled your appointments by 1 o'clock, whatever it is. Seeing that and seeing like, okay, it wasn't just I suck on the phone. It was I'm taking all day to dial
Mm-hmm.
instead of just the dials are taking all day. No, I'm taking all day to dial.
Yeah, that's huge right there. It's not that you're not dialing enough, you're just prolonging all the dials. If you can get those dials crammed 400 whatever how many dials, if you can get that crammed into 3, 4, 5 hours versus 12 hours, I mean you're going to be a lot happier, your mental's going to be a lot better, and you're not going to feel
Nobody,
like it takes forever.
yeah, nobody likes dialing at 8 p.m. Tell you that much.
Right. So like for instance today, like, so when did you got in the office, when did you start dialing?
I was in the office at 7:30. My first dial was at 8.
8. Okay. And because you came over to me a little bit earlier, how many appointments did you book for the day?
I got 15 so far.
15 so far. So 8 to what time?
I think I was booked with 15 by 11:45 because I had a telesale at 12.
Nice. So you booked 15 appointments and you just helped with family all in
Yeah.
one day. So that's awesome. And obviously the office gives you the structure, and obviously you've gotten better on the phones throughout the period of time as well. But there's no really secret sauce. It's just mainly taking control of your time and focusing on income producing activities.
Yeah, because I think once you do that, you start realizing what works for you more. And instead of thinking about the scripts or whatever it may be, like, did I change my script once I heard you? Absolutely. But like, instead of me trying a bunch of different things throughout the day or whatever, now I had enough time because I was actually doing the thing to, okay, I'm going to do this and see if it works. Okay, I'm going to do this and see if it works. But I'm still setting appointments. I'm not just like running a mock phone call with my fiance, like, hey, let's run this real quick. All right, I'm gonna
Mm-hmm.
go back in here and try and dial. Now I'm like, okay, I'm gonna do it and see if it works for me because I did change a lot, but
Mm-hmm.
that was kind of the secret sauce was just being able to actually produce income producing activities, like you said, is like that is
Mm-hmm.
what helps.
Awesome. Okay. So since you kind of alluded to it, let's talk about your phone script. Did you really change what you were saying? Was it how you were saying it? Is a little bit of everything, or?
I think it was a little bit of everything. I was really, I wouldn't even say salesman-y. I was kind of just like I don't even know how to put it. I was just so overly over the top excited when I talk to people.
Yeah.
Like they pick up the phone and I would freak out and like talk super fast. And when I start doing that, I sound like I can't speak. So it was really just changing that up. But like, yeah, it was the way I've done it now is after listening to you is like decreasing sales pressure and just staying calm throughout the whole thing.
Mm-hmm. That's cool. So give us, if you don't mind, can you kind of, well, first before we get into that, like, so where you started, like, are you strictly in home? Are you a little bit of in home and telesales? Like, where's your business at now?
Um, I I would say it's a hybrid.
Mm-hmm.
Over the last month, it's been predominantly over the phone, but that's just because of the leads I like to run. So
Mm-hmm.
I'd use a lot of age mortgage, you know that.
Mm-hmm.
And being here, you can't in Kansas, you can't really get that. So whenever I find it in whatever state that may be, because I think I'm licensed in like 12 different states. So
Mm-hmm.
I just buy it as soon as I can, as much age mortgage as possible, run that super cheap, but it's also most of the time they have never been helped, or they don't know what they have, or whatever it may be.
Yeah.
So that's been huge. But I like this week I'm going in home, but I did one over the phone a second ago.
Right. So do you think going in home to start made it easier for you to do telesales? Do you think if we have, for instance, you hire a brand new agent, are you going to recommend them do one over the other to start, or do you think it's just going to depend on the agent and their personality and what they're looking to do?
I think it depends on the agent and their personality, because if you can have the confidence to do it, because I think that's the biggest thing over the phone is like confidence.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just because if you're brand new, you don't really know what's happening anyway most of the time. So I prefer to go in home personally. But if the agent has the confidence and has like the understanding of products, maybe they just study a little bit more and know what everything is, which is some people are like that. I was not.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know much about anything when I first got in the home. I called my upline literally every day.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so yeah, I think it just depends on the agent, but I would recommend going in home, because then what when people say something, now you can just imagine what their face is like, what their body language is like, and why they're saying it.
For sure. No, I agree with you. I think if you can get some appointments under your belt face to face, you're going to have more success. Both work. They both have their pros and cons. Um, and I mean, we could spend a whole day talking about that. Um, but because I remember when you were first getting into the office and you were kind of hearing like Leah selling over the phone, that type of stuff, like you were super, super scared of it. Like, but then like just a few months ago, like you killed it just selling mainly telesales. Was it, like you said, just confidence? Is that you just needed to believe that you could do it? Is
Yeah,
it
I
different?
think I think that was definitely it. Was just believing that I could do it, because I done so much in the home already.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I kind of took it almost like a challenge to try it, especially because I had so many leftover leads that I never got a hold of. When I did take a travel trip to Texas, I had so many leads I couldn't get a hold of when I was there. So I just decided, okay, well, I'm going to try. It wasn't enough to take another trip. So I was like, okay, I'm just going to try and do this again, just over the phone, because I've never got a hold of these people.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the first week I did it, I think I helped 10 families that month or that week. So it was definitely worth it, because it was leads I didn't even have to buy.
Right.
I had already bought them.
That's what's great is when you can just resolve your other stuff, because you probably gave up on them because you didn't have enough to go back down to make another travel trip, but you could still sell one policy here and there.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And then at that point, you're
Mhm.
profitable, because
Right.
if you're doing age, you know how cheap it is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So let's you alluded to it earlier, like changing your phone script a little bit. So can you break down what your phone script sounds like and kind of walk us through like the differences of you, like when you were super excited versus like your tone and how you're talking to people now?
Yeah. So I think I mean, can I just do age? I mean, predominantly do age mortgage. So do you
Yeah.
want me to like, do an age mortgage script? Okay. So I think when I first started, I like word vomited on everybody. So it'd be like they would answer, and I'd be like, "Hey, Colton.
Yeah.
Hey, Colton. This is Ian. I'm just getting back to you real quick. There's been some things going on in the county. We need to get these updates out to you for the mortgage protections." Like that's what I just thought it was, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
just how quickly can I set the appointment? There's no substance behind it. They don't really know why I'm even coming out, like
Mm-hmm.
whatever it may be. And the no shows were just ridiculous. So once I heard you and kind of how you did it, like I said, like just from the beginning, it was word vomit. That's the only thing I can think of. But from now though, what it is, it's calm. I break things up. Like I'll stutter on purpose, and I got that from you. So, but it's just to decrease sales pressure. It's like, Colton, hey Colton, this is Ian. I was just getting back to you real quick. I needed to close this file. Did somebody get out there and get the mortgage protection set up for you? And at that point, they're either going to say yes or no,
Mm-hmm.
or they'll say, most of the time it's like, no, nobody ever contacted me. And now I just got a brand new mortgage mailer for the price of like $3. So it's super easy. You decrease sales pressure because you're just asking, did it ever get done? And
Mm-hmm.
if it did, okay, perfect. You can dig in and see what they think they have, because most of the time I've ran into it 100 times, people just not knowing what they have and thinking they have something, and it's actually an accidental policy when they could have got, coverage, but whatever agent went out there and sold them whatever. Maybe they didn't have the products we do,
Mm-hmm.
went and sold them an accidental. So when you start digging into that's why I would go in home, so you can look at policies, know what they are,
Right.
understand like what policies mean. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
because if you're just doing that over the phone and you're like, okay, well, I know a moo accidental starts with 50 AD, just because I've been
Yeah.
in the home 1,000 times and I know like that stuff. So you know what accidentals are, you know what they mean. So then at that point you can help them. So going in home's cool just for knowledge wise, but you just break everything up. You're asking questions,
Mm-hmm.
you dig in. If you want to go over the phone, it is easy. You're just digging into what they have. If they have $250,000 in coverage for $15 a month, you probably know it's an accidental.
Right. So how your intro is, you're kind of you're getting your script out, but you're delaying it how like you're presenting it, I guess. So like you're stuttering a little bit, you're a little bit slower in your speech. So just with that, because with age leads, a lot of people they they get hung up on so quickly in like the first 30 seconds. And a lot of times it is just because we're super excited and and then automatically they're they're up here and like, this guy's trying to sell me something. So in just in terms of that, is that what it's really helped you out with, is keeping these people on the phone and getting them to open up? Was that the hardest thing you were seeing?
Yeah, I think so. And I think breaking it up and asking questions like I'm the one confused
Yeah.
helps, because then they're going to be just as confused. And at that point, you solve the problem together, and it's not you versus them.
Yeah. I love that. No, that's awesome. Yeah. And that's what I've kind of found out to be just super helpful for myself, is kind of coming from it like we're in this together. I'm not against you. I'm not trying to sell you on something that you don't need. Like, it's just my job to come out there. Always the guy that doesn't really like his job.
Yeah,
But
that's helped a lot. And I got that from you, was just acting like, okay, I'm just doing my job. I'm not selling something. I'm just the guy to get you the information.
mm-hmm. Yeah. So, and that, I mean, and I guess that's what you get when, like, back to what you're talking about, you're in the office with other people that are doing it. You can kind of just bounce stuff off of each other. Like, here, obviously, our doors are usually always open. We're dialing you, even if you didn't want to listen, and you can hear people, what they're saying, how they're saying it, and you can just pick up on little things, which is awesome. So so you mentioned that you kind of just love aged mortgage. So with that, do you just like it because you can be just super profitable because it's such a cheaper lead than like fresh mortgage, or
I
what's your
do.
philosophy on
I
that?
I do have fresh mortgage counties,
Mm-hmm.
but obviously right now, not a lot of people are buying homes, refinancing, anything like that. So I think the age mortgage was huge because, like you just said, it is super profitable.
Mm-hmm.
And you're most of the time, a lot of these people haven't been contacted, or they don't know what they have. Like, yeah, I have something coming out, but I don't know what it is. Okay, well, let's solve the problem.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of it was timing. Some people didn't sell them the first time because they really did have to think about it. And then now you're just the one following back up. I've ran into that a few times where they're just like, yeah, we need to think about it, but yeah, I think we did want to go through with it. Perfect. That's why I'm calling.
That's awesome. That's
But
why I'm a huge fan of the age stuff too, because like you just said, timing is honestly everything. Whether it's like a 3-month-old internet lead or a 3-month-old mortgage lead, they've both been hit before. They've probably had calls before. It floors me still when like people say, "Yeah, no one reached out to me." I'm glad you finally called me.
and it just makes it that much better, because then you can build that relationship with the client too. That like,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I was waiting for somebody to call. I'm so sorry. That's why I'm calling. I'll be the one that takes care of this for you.
Mm-hmm.
There's that. I mean, profitability is huge with it, of course. But I also think like you need to have the right expectations, my stack of declines over here is huge.
Yeah.
But instead of now I'm getting declined by a $75 mortgage mailer, I'm getting declined by a $3 3-month-old mortgage mailer. And I have 100 more waiting.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's kind of the biggest thing is like understanding some people don't want to be talked to again. And it's part of it.
Mm-hmm.
Just like you get a brand new mortgage mailer. They've hung up on me 100 times too.
Mm-hmm.
And it hurts more when it's $75, $84, whatever it is, and than $3.
Right. Right. And because then the good thing about you didn't rely just on that alone. Like what else are you blending in there with the age?
I've done some instance when I can. There's not a ton around us in the area that we really work, so I've done a lot of Facebook leads.
Mm-hmm.
I've used countless vendors for them.
Yeah.
So like today I dialed Facebook leads, did that, scheduled some telesales for age mortgage on the counties that I still hadn't been able to get to when I ran down to Texas. So I have like I think 13 of the appointments that I have set are with the Facebook vendors, and then 2 are telesales for age mortgage. And I have more to dial once we get off here too.
Nice. No, that's awesome. And because I think it's great. Like you say, you kind of have like a set schedule. Or let's go through that. Like now that you're in the office, can you kind of give us what your schedule is, whatever it is, Monday through Friday, Monday through Saturday? Like, can you break that down? Like when you're getting leads, when you're dialing, when you're booking, that type of stuff.
Yeah, so like a typical week for me, Sunday will kind of plan out unless I'm in. Well, let me take that back. It really starts the week before, knowing that like if I am going to place a Facebook order, I typically put it in Friday
Mm-hmm.
uh, because I need to have enough time for all of them to come in. Sometimes it does take longer. So like this week, this past week, I placed my order on Friday for my Facebook leads because that's kind of like what I do when I don't. You're not always going to have a plan, but like
Mm-hmm.
to have a plan that isn't a plan, I guess. Does that make sense? Like, okay, I can always go do this
Mm-hmm.
and always be profitable off these. So I placed that on Friday, planned out that I'm taking a travel trip this weekend. And so basically what I'll do is I'll dial Monday, 8 a.m. I get here by between 7:30 and 7:35 almost every day. I'll dial from 8 to 12. We have our team call at 12, and then we have a manager call at 1. And so we do all that kind of stuff. So it's been really important to dial as hard as I can for those first 4 hours
Mm-hmm.
because I have so much stuff to do on the back end with the team and with stuff like that. So I'll dial. What I'll do first is I'll set my like today I set my Facebook appointments for the next 2 days, and then I picked up my age mortgage and I set them for this evening, and then I'll set more for the times that I don't have filled with Facebook yet, because I can always just, even if they're 30-minute calls, I can go do another one and I can do 2 in an hour, so it's a lot
Mm-hmm.
quicker. I'm getting more appointments and I'm setting myself up that way. I'll run Tuesday, Wednesday. Anytime I have in there for any extra dials, like Tuesday, if I need to dial more for Wednesday, I will. And then Wednesday, if I have unresolved leads, I'll go door knock them. I'd rather set the appointment Tuesday for Wednesday. Like if I have to dial again and then go door knock Wednesday, then door knock Tuesday. Thursday again, dial day. I'm taking a travel trip, so I went and bought as much age mortgage as I could and where I'm
Mm-hmm.
going. And I'll dial Thursday for Friday, Saturday, and then do the whole thing over again.
Got it. Okay.
It's been really nice just to have even if you don't have everything dialed out exactly step by step, having an idea of a certain kind of thing that you want to do
Mm-hmm.
has helped me like stay on track with what I want to do. Like I also know my goals. I know my goals for the week. I know how many dials I want to make. I know how many appointments I need to set. So having that, which I didn't have before I got in the office, it was like, okay, I'll be done whenever I want to be done. So when I got in here and set actual goals that are obtainable, it now forced me to actually work.
Right.
So once I did that, it was night and day.
That's awesome. So, because a lot of the stuff, well, correct me if I'm wrong, because you even like on your telesales stuff, you don't do you do any like one call closes, or are you more like you like to book the appointment for later?
I like to book the appointment for later, only because most of the time when I'm calling mortgage, they're typically at work.
Mm-hmm.
If you're calling during the day, sometimes you do run into some cases where a one call close will, like, it will be the only thing you can do, which is fine.
Mm-hmm.
Um, for me, it's easier to just set the appointment though, so I can get back to dialing.
Yeah.
And then I put
Okay.
them in so they get a text reminder beforehand and everything like that. So it's helped with the no show too. But again,
Right.
telesales, you're gonna get no showed.
Yeah, because it seems at least during the week, maybe it's just Monday through Wednesday, you're doing a lot of just dialing that day for appointments that night. Is that how you?
Yeah,
That,
when I don't have a Facebook, when I have enough leads in for Age Mortgage and I don't put a Facebook order in, I'll dial all morning for appointments in the evening, and
mm-hmm.
then I do that throughout the week too. If I don't have like a Facebook order in or anything like that, so
Mm-hmm.
I'll dial and set anywhere from like 5 to 7 appointments for the day, from like 3 to 6 or whatever it is,
Mm-hmm.
and then I'm normally done with that by 11, and then I'll telesell throughout the night. I normally sit half, sell half. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, that's how that goes. Um, and at that point, you've done, for instance, say you set 6 appointments, you sit half, sell half, you're doing like 1.5, right? Somewhere in there.
Mm-hmm.
Numbers play out. Well, you look up and you have almost little to no lead spend, and you've also done 6, 7 families that week
Yeah, can't
with
beat
little to
that.
no lead spend, and you have all this time during the day to then, go run appointments, do whatever you need to do.
Mm-hmm.
Just kind of depending on what it is that you do.
Yeah, because if you're doing it that way, because I remember you doing that, and I've never really seen many people do it that way. But I mean, especially telesales, if you're not going to one call close, you need to do it the same day or the next day. Otherwise, you're going to get a no show more than likely.
Yeah,
Um, but that's smart, is like when you're doing that, is if you get booked up for the day, I mean, five appointments each day, I mean, hell, that, I mean, by the time the week's up, you're obviously more than full time. Because you want it, I mean, we say you want at least 30 appointments a week.
yeah,
So I mean, you do that 5 days a week, obviously that's, I mean, and normally you're getting more than 5 appointments, which is nice.
yeah.
But okay, that's cool. And here in a second, if anyone has any questions, throw them in the chat or the Q&A. We'll hit those before we jump off here. If anyone has any more detailed questions that I didn't hit on. But so, because we're coming up on the end of the year, and there's one thing I do want to touch on, is because I guess you haven't been here a year yet, but like everyone is worried, like December, is that a bad month to do business because it's around Christmas time? Like, do you have a certain objection, or are you getting these objections? Get with me after the holidays, because it's bound to happen. Like it, if you have or if you haven't, like share with us like what you would say to kind of overcome that.
Yeah, I've gotten it a few times. Get back with me after the holidays, get back with me after the first of the year, whatever it is. Um, and like with telesales, it is harder to set that appointment still because they can't no show you or whatever. But it's like, yeah, of course, I definitely can do that.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, my only job is just to make sure you do have what you think you have. If it's a mortgage appointment, or put this in the system, whatever it is, should take only like 5 or 10 minutes. I have some time this evening. I could squeeze you in between like 6 and 7. Does that work for you?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, perfect. Let's do it that way. I've got some today. I'm doing Facebook in home, and they said the same thing. Can you get back with me after the holidays? I don't have any money right now. All this stuff. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
that's perfect. I definitely can. I don't have a problem doing that. Like I said, it's just my job to get you the information. Other than that, whatever you do with it, that's up to you.
Mm-hmm.
My only job is to get you the information, because at that point you're decreasing sales pressure. Um, and when you go in there, you can still figure out, like, they're probably still going to go out to eat the next 3 weeks till after the holidays.
Right.
That's enough money for a policy. You know what I mean?
Right.
So, and it's just whatever you touch on in the home that
Mm-hmm.
most of the time people are still wanting to protect their family, especially around the holidays.
Right, right. And I agree, because I mean you're gonna get that when you're booking appointments. You're gonna get that in the home when you're showing them options as well. I even kind of shared that with our in our group the other day. But it is a lot of things like what I did last year too. I don't know if this helps anybody, but like a lot of times is they want to book the appointment, and a lot of times like yeah, that's why they're trying to get us to reach out to everybody before the end of the year, because it's possible by starting next year they're gonna require a physical exam for approval, and this that's why they're kind of get us out to everybody, because it's all non-medical right now, and then like yeah, back to your script. um, and
That's pretty cool. I haven't heard that.
so that has helped me book more appointments towards the end of the year, because you're gonna get that objection. It's gonna happen, and that's why I always tell people when you're on the phone, in the home, whatever it's gonna be, you got to be prepared for these objections. You can't just assume you're not gonna get one, and then when you get one, you just freeze up. That's not really being coachable, or you're not learning, you're not getting better. So I mean, this only really works at the end of the year. Just because it kind of makes sense. I mean, it's not like you're just straight up lying to your clients to do this or do that, but it's just you have to make it apparent that just because it's Christmas time, a lot of people in their heads, I mean, you start getting these towards Thanksgiving, and then people say, get with me after Thanksgiving. You get a hold of them. Okay, now actually just get me with me after Christmas. And then it just gets prolonged and prolonged. But what if something happens to these people? Like they filled out a form for a reason. They filled out a form knowing Christmas is coming up. It is our job. That's the way I always look at it. It's my job to put you in a better situation than when I talked to you or when I saw you. Whatever that's going to be. If I can't help you, I can't help you. But most likely we all know we can help or beat anyone else out there if they got something pretty recently, which is pretty nice. But I think that's super apparent for everyone on here, to understand is during the December months, that doesn't mean we just quit working, because everyone's going to give you that objection because it's the easiest thing to say. You just haven't diffused the problem and gotten them to open up. But once you do, and you alleviate their fear or their pain or whatever it is, I mean, you're going to get to that point where that's not really an objection. That's just something everybody says during this time of year. But so if you, I guess, before we wrap it up, like if you would start over again, like brand new agent, what are a few things that you would tell yourself or you would tell a brand new agent to accelerate your success? Because you stayed around helping 10 families a month for a while, and you went through that process. I think where we've all been is like, is this going to work? Can I get profitable? Like, what are some things that you could have done if you could go back and tell yourself that you would shorten that learning curve and increase your chances of having success in the beginning versus waiting 9-10 months?
I definitely think number one would have been fun. So like I was in school, like I was in a little apartment, like finding a place where I could have dialed and actually protect that time and not, have a TV. For me, it was TV. I would have it on and I get distracted super easy. So that
Mm-hmm.
would have been number one. Because at that point I would have set more appointments, which would have helped
Mm-hmm.
me get in the home more. And I think everybody knows, once you get in the home enough, you start getting comfortable. Well,
Yeah.
it took me 8 months to get comfortable and actually understand what I was doing, because I prolonged that period. Just like we were talking about, it took me all day to dial. Well, it took me 8 months to figure it out because I let it take me 8 months instead of doing all of that in a certain amount of time, which would have been the first, I could have done the same amount in the first 2 3 months, but I took 8 to figure it out because I didn't go all in with everything.
Mm-hmm.
I worked some. I didn't work the whole time. So my biggest thing would just be, when it's dial time, it's dial time. And when you're running appointments, like you're there to run appointments, go door knock, go do as much as you can to get in more homes. Because once you do that and you get in more homes, you become more comfortable.
Mm-hmm. Right. No, that makes sense. That makes a lot of sense. And I think the chat was is disabled. Tiffany's texting me. She has a question. She's asking what type of or what sort of problems do you solve? Because I think that's a good question. As I always say, you got to be a good problem solver or problem finder. What are some big things that you're finding in these homes more often than not, I guess?
I think especially with the age mortgage, sometimes they already have policies. We just do like a policy review, look over it, and I'll find a lot of times that people don't quite understand what they have. So if you can explain it better than the person before you, you typically, you end up getting them something that they want, because a lot of times I'll run into, okay, there's a 50-year-old that has a 15-year term but a 30-year mortgage, because it was cheaper to write them a 15-year term.
Mm-hmm.
So then you solve that problem, and well, if you find the problem, then you solve it.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, I see you only have do you have a 15-year mortgage? No, I have a 30-year. Well, you only have coverage for half of that. And then at that point, they're like, well, I want coverage for the full amount. And then you can then write them a 30-year term.
Right.
Or you find the one where it's like they think that they have a immediate issue product, and they have a guaranteed issue, and they have a 2-year wait, but we have enough products to get them something that's immediate.
Mm-hmm.
So even booking appointments, when they say I already got this done, perfect. It's just my job to go over this, make sure the underwriter in front of me did everything they're supposed to with you, especially with final expense, because you'll run into so many guaranteed issue products when you can write them something that's immediate.
Right.
I think the
Yeah.
biggest thing about finding the problems is just finding within the policies. And if they, maybe it was a one leg for somebody got the husband a policy, not the wife, and they're looking for something for the wife, or vice versa. So you're finding the problems, and then you just solve them you don't have to go rewrite the husband's policy if he has something and
Mm-hmm.
it's good and it's what he wants. Perfect. You go write the wife what she needs now.
Mm-hmm.
And then that point you're solving that problem. So now they're both covered.
Yeah, I think that's huge. It's especially like brand new agents when you're down in these leads. What I get a lot is they already said they had it taken care of, and but that you don't want to stop there, because almost everybody's going to have something taken care of. But a lot of times you can strengthen their position. Maybe they got something guaranteed issued, and we can get them something level. Or like you said, the spouse doesn't have it, or maybe they're taken care of, but you go out there, you talk to them, they want something on their kids or grandkids now. Like, there's always a place. It's not always replacing a policy. A lot of times it's just adding coverage, because the senior market, these people on average have 3 different final expense policies. At the time, they have like 3 different $5,000 policies, when we could just bulk them all together. Or that just tells you they're a buyer. They've given their social, they've given their bank info out before, so they know the process and how it works. And they can't tell you, well, I'm not giving you that info. Like, you already have a policy over here. You did the exact same thing. You're not going to have that objection anymore, which is nice. So there's always little things where you can add value, which is good.
Especially, can I say one thing that's helped me with that? With people who say they have multiple policies, and they'll typically say it over the phone. Because they're like, yeah, I got this done. I have XYZ and XY, whatever it is, right? Perfect. So you have some coverage already, and it's with a bunch of different companies. I'm sure you're wanting to consolidate that into one policy, so your beneficiary only has to call one number instead of 3, right? And then you go out there and you can either consolidate it, or they're set up and there's nothing you can do. If you're not going to put them in a worse spot, but if you can put them in a better spot with one carrier and do it that way, then you basically just sold 3 policies to one person.
Right. Yeah, that's really good. No, that's awesome. Okay, is there anything else you want to leave with everybody on here before we wrap it up?
I just think that the biggest thing for me that was like really successful for me was just listening to other people dial. And then I've been on your team Zoom before too. That's awesome. I think that helps a lot, listening to other people, trying to figure out what they say, if you can use it, and don't be afraid to try something new. If if you weren't doing something that was working before and you change it and it's not working, you're just in the same spot. So don't be afraid to try a bunch of different stuff and figure out what works for you.
Mm-hmm. Yep. I think that's awesome. Yeah. So I appreciate you jumping on here, Ian. Hope you guys all um, got some value out of this. If there's anything I can ever do to help anyone on this call, feel free to reach out. And again, thank you, Stephen Yee, for letting us hop on here and hopefully created some value for you guys out there. So again, thank you, Ian, and let's have a good week out there, guys.
Yeah, man, I appreciate it. Thank you.